While Congressman Eric Swalwell might be polling at 0%, do you still find it concerning that a public servant has the audacity to call for mandatory gun buybacks?
Yes, and I think it's pretty audacious of him to call it a buyback also, because that suggests that it's property that was first owned by the government and that we were allowed to just take possession of temporarily, and they want their property back. That's not how that works. And I'm always unnerved whenever I hear anybody in government talk about confiscating, and that's what it is. It's confiscation. They can use whatever Olympic word salad that they want to. They can talk about mandatory buybacks, but you're seizing people's guns, and if they don't comply, as he's also said, then he would introduce jail time, and I don't even know what that would look like. But he's talking about turning people into criminals simply because of their Second Amendment natural rights, and I just get the sense that he doesn't understand what natural rights are, nor does he understand the boundaries of government with regards to our Constitution. He just seems to be a dramatic character who's flailing his arms, and I think that he knew when he got into this race that he wouldn't have a chance. He just wants to sell books and maybe get a contributorship with MSNBC or something like that at one point. But talking like this even turns off moderate Democrats, because there are a lot of moderate Democrat gun owners out there, and they want to make sure that they can keep hold of their firearms for self-defense and to hunt. And for him to talk like that, and it's not just him, I know that there's a lot of other candidates out there that are doing it. It's concerning, and it just shows how far the Democrat Party has drifted left as compared to John F. Kennedy and the Kennedy Democrats.
Given that the left has gone so far to the left now, what do you think is going to be the biggest issue facing Republicans in 2020?
The biggest issue facing Republicans in 2020, honestly, I think it's them staying on message. I know that's kind of weird as an answer for campaign and policy, but we are doing really great economically right now, and there have been some very good economic policies coming out of this administration. I'd like to see more on tax cuts. I'd like to see a reduction in government spending, because we're going to get into a weird place if we're not offsetting tax cuts with reducing government spending, because that's what's really driving the deficit. And I think if Republicans can stay on that, they're going to be their own greatest enemy. I mean, at this point, because all of the polls show that Trump is on trend to win in 2020. We'll see how long his coattails are going to be at that point, but they are their own worst enemy if they get in the way of what the administration is rolling out on behalf of what the people voted for. That's going to be, honestly, they pose more of a threat to themselves than Democrats do at this point.
What do you think about YouTube demonetizing Steven Crowder recently?
What big tech, I think, is doing, I mean, it is corporate censorship. Absolutely. And I know that there are some sticklers out there. Well, censorship is only when the government comes down on you, but corporate censorship is a real thing. We've even seen, in a way, financial censorship with the way that gun owners and FFLs and storefronts have been treated, and manufacturers have been treated by a lot of banking institutions. But with regards to YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all of these platforms, they can either choose to act as a platform or they can be a publisher. I'm a free speech purist. I'm 2 steps above anarchy. I love free speech. But at the same time, there are protected forms of free speech. There are protected forms of speech, and then there's defamation, there's libel, there's slander, and telling someone that you're going to murder them. Things like that are actionable. But aside from all of that, I understand what Senator Hawley is talking about, and I've spoken to him about this on my radio show. When you have YouTube or Twitter or Facebook choosing to act as a publisher as opposed to a platform, you're going to have to assume that liability that comes with it. Right now, they're having their cake and eating it too, by the way in which they're choosing what they're going through, not just what they allow to go on their platform unrestricted, but also what they allow to come up in searches with algorithms, and that they're choosing what to publish. They're selecting based on political bias, which it's the Communications Decency Act and subsection 230. That's not protected under that. So I don't want government to regulate social media platforms, but they are not helping themselves with this. And there's so many of us out here who've been saying, look, all you have to do is just let people be free to speak as they want to. If someone doesn't like it, if that one, what's his name, Carlos Maza, who used to be for Media Matters and now he's with Vox, does the video that was made going at him, does it morph into Meat Space and follow him around Does he not have the ability to shut his computer? I don't understand how he's so harassed by a video in which someone was talking about his lisp, I think is one of the things that was mentioned. You can shut it. I mean, he can come and dive into my mentions any day of the week and see how he likes that. He can shut the computer. He can close the browser. He can just not watch it. There's nothing in that that's hurting him. And it's free speech is free speech. Yes, everybody should be nice to each other. If you live in a kittens and sunshine world, we don't. People are going to say bad things about you on the internet. They're going to say things that you don't agree with. People need to get over it and just learn how to coexist. I think it's silly what YouTube is doing.
We live in a really nightmare. We live in a really nightmare.